Ooh, there's a bee. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Self-Love with me, Zamar. Today, we're sitting here with Danielle Lobo from the Healing Boat. Yay. Thank you for sitting with us. So we've been trying to have this conversation for months, and I'm so totally excited to finally have an opportunity to have it. Can you please tell us a little bit about what you do, maybe a little bit of a history of how you came to do it, about the Healing Boat and how it came to be?
So the Healing Boat started when I became initiated into the water spirits, and when I honored my ancestry and lineage there. Mm-hmm. And what that allowed me to do was to explore both being connected to the water. So that actually became a real part of my life when I became a boat captain, and that was my connection to the water. That was the way I explored my ancestry with the water spirits. Mm-hmm. So that was one really concrete way that I was able to have the Healing Boat in its first form, because I remember when I first started as a captain, I would say prayers on the boat, and I would offer tobacco to the water. That was not really with a huge consciousness of that this would be a business or that it would be something like that. Mm-hmm. So there was that aspect. And then I also have a shamanic healing practice. And I've done it now for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I learned it from an elder who I respect very much. And that's what I've done.
How did you, I guess I'm thinking for folks who are out there trying to figure out and find what their purpose is, how did you, I don't know, I guess I want to ask you how you knew, but that's not the question I'm trying to ask, but in terms of connecting with an elder, in terms of coming to a place where you're able to do what it is that you love and be in line with your purpose, how did that come to place?
So actually I've had a lot of people lately come to me and ask me I need help with finding my soul purpose. And I was okay, well, I can do what I can for that. Mm-hmm. But what I actually feel very confident that I could do is help you to feel okay with not knowing. Mm. And so, because, throughout all of this, it wasn't I'm doing my soul purpose. It was just I'm doing something really cool that I love. And now that the cards have laid themselves on the table fully or more fully, because they continue to display themselves, it's oh wow, that when I first got my first boat captain job, it was wow, this is a cool opportunity. I can just do it, I can learn and just be on the water. And then when I learned that there was this real connection to the water spirits and to my ancestors in that way, that's where I realized that is soul purpose, or that is the fulfilling of my spirit. Mm-hmm. And during the time, I didn't really know what the direction was. And it's more just following that impulse rather than knowing that, okay, my soul purpose is to go drive boats, so that's what I'm going to go do. Yeah. For me, soul purpose is just feeling aligned with my impulses and following my impulses, because the purpose always changes.
I hear that. I feel for me, in terms of how I relate to that, is I feel my purpose is very much rooted around being able to love and share love and the energy of love in the ways that it's healing. And I think that what it looks like and the tools I do that with looks different. I feel doing hair or makeup or running a workshop, these are simply tools that I use, but what it is that I'm doing, for me, being in line with my purpose is less about the tool and more about what it is that I do with that tool.
And I remember speaking to, this was a while ago, so I spoke to this one elder who I go to, and she does dream work. And I remember saying to her, because I had just finally understood that it doesn't really matter what you do. It's more about the way you are and your state of being and what you do. Yeah. And yes, I don't necessarily want to serve all the time or bartend or anything, right? But I can do those things. There's times where I am bartending or I am serving, and I still feel in my soul purpose. Yeah. So it's really, I'm reframing it, because it really is a state of being rather than a state of doing.
I love, ooh, that gave me like, I got shivers. So like, that's real. I love that. I think that it took me a long time. I think I'm still coming to terms and accepting that, but it's taking me a very long time, because we're taught from a young age that like what we do, at least like I was, like what you do is really important. And like particularly, you know, people are telling you, oh, get an education. It's very much about like doing, like what will you do with this education? And I think that along my journey of like self-love and understanding myself, a lot of that process has looked like being able to like love myself and simply just like in my existence, like finding the beauty of like existing.
I have to get my hair done. You know, that's actually why I felt very connected to seeing you, is because I need to get my hair done. That's and that doesn't sound like some, you know, I'm going to save people. Like I'm going to like, you know, it sounds so vain, but it's that's how like the stuff that I do. Or like I gotta wake up early, which I'm still working on consistently, but also meditating in the morning and that is stuff that I do, but it's less in it's very like personal. Like every single person has the things that they do that are each of their own.
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean, is like this idea that like the doing has to seem like a valuable doing rather than like. So I'm thinking about folks who are wanting to see themselves as more of a like holistic being and wanting to connect in terms of all the pieces of themselves, like connecting that together and trying to find ways to support their self-love journey. And like I feel like a lot of like learning to love yourself is also part of like learning to care for yourself in different ways and like figuring out what tools to use. So I want to know if you could talk to us a little bit about like chakras and like understanding them and like what they are.
Okay, so chakras are a way to, is this energetic system in your body. So what it technically does is there's 7 chakras that I work with. There's actually more chakras that people will talk about, and I'm familiar with that as well. It's just that I work in the 7 chakra systems. I'm going to speak in that way. Chakras are energetic systems that connect your body to your spirit. So you have 7. You start with your root chakra, which is just like below, like between your legs. And that's what keeps you grounded, keeps you stable, keeps you connected to the earth. It's very much a connection to the land, and feeling like you've got the support of Mother Earth. Your second chakra is just below your belly button. And these are actual like real centers, because I'll talk about that after. But so it's right below your belly button, and that chakra is your desires, your creativity, your sexuality. Those are the big words that I would say for your second chakra. And so that's just below your belly button. Then you have your third chakra, which is like in between your heart and your belly button.
I'm trying to like figure out your heart and your belly button.
Like for women, in between your breasts
and
your belly button.
Like
halfway there.
Okay.
And that chakra is to do with willpower, strength, inner core strength.
Okay.
Your digestion, both physically and your ability to digest emotions or anything that's consumed through the body, energy. That
makes so much sense to my life.
It's like, you know, when I realized that I didn't actually, like when you don't have stuff that you process, well, okay, I don't want to speak for everyone, but for myself, I know that when I don't process my energy stuff, it like accumulates here. That's when my belly gets a little bit bigger, right? And so that's actually where fear resides too. The third chakra is, if there's a lot of fear, that's where it will be held. There are blockages there.
That makes sense. Totally. Okay.
So when they say like your gut, That's what it feels like. Then you move on to your heart chakra, which is pretty self-explanatory.
It's like on your chest?
Yeah, right? Just between your breasts.
Okay.
That's your emotions, your ability to express love, and not like romantic love, just a universal love. And we're going to go to our throat chakra, which is right here. And this is your ability to express yourself, communicate. It doesn't even have to be always through words, but your self-voice. Okay. So, and creativity as well. Then you have your sixth chakra, which is your third eye.
And that's like right in the middle of your forehead?
Yeah, like right here.
Okay.
Yeah, in between your eyebrows. Okay. And this is your sixth sense, as they say, your intuition, your ability to see beyond what's really there. It's like your pineal gland is connected to your sixth chakra. And that allows you, like, when I've worked with my sixth chakra, I began to see auras, and there's a whole world. Like it's kind of like your mystery chakra in a way, because it really allows you to see beyond what is the physical realm. I feel that's what it connects. So then we move on to our seventh chakra.
Is that the top?
Yeah, it's like just your crown chakra.
Okay.
And this is what connects you to the universe, to your spirit, connects you to your soul, to the part of you that is part of everything. Yes. Okay. And there's more about your eighth chakra and ninth chakra, and then I haven't even learned too much about it, but there's people who say there's a 14 chakra system, but I'm not going to go into it because it's not my expertise.
Okay. So in terms of like how you work with like chakras, like what does that look like for folks who might be interested in like knowing more of like how to strengthen or like how to work through stuff?
Yes. So the way that I work with chakras is I use stones, healing stones, and people blow their breath into the stone. And what that allows me to do is to track. So for instance, say if someone came to me and they said, I'm having some real back problems. I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel like I could get good rest because my back is hurting. I'll say, okay, blow that into the stone 3 times. They blow it into the stone. And their breath, that issue, the energy of the back problems, it goes into the stone. And what I do is I take the stone and I put it over each part of each chakra, and I can map where the energetic blockage is, because that stone holds the energy of where it is in the body. And so what I do is I'll put the stone over the chakra, and then I facilitate the energy flowing through the body so that will go to the stone, and that there'll be like a blockage, or like not a blockage, the blockage will be cleared.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. If I may, like, I'm pretty sure that's what the session we did last time.
Yes.
Yeah. And
illumination is what
is
what it's called.
Okay. And that I did that at the beginning of like the spring summer season, and I feel like in so many ways it's come up in my life throughout the past few months, and like I find myself like referring back to like the information that you shared with me, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, like it was like I feel like I get these little reminders of like, oh yeah, that thing, okay.
So I didn't even really. So what I do with the stones and chakras is actually, in my mind, it feels separate from what you're talking about.
Okay.
Because what that is whenever I just do it. I mean, I don't really have to do the stonework to do that, but I just do it at the same time. But I often get visions that I tell people, and they play out as like little movies, you know, in my mind's eye. Yeah. And I'll tell people that. I'll get messages from spirit guides that I pass on. I just hear things that I don't know where they come from, and I just say it. or even my senses are heightened during that time, and I'll say certain things. So yeah, and that's something that I don't really know what, I mean, I think people refer to it as intuitive readings. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. So thank you for explaining and sharing that with us. I would love if you could do it's always different for me, like meditating, like when it's guided and like when there's someone around me, it's such a different experience because I'm so used to being like, I'm just gonna like do my own thing. But then, yeah, so that's just my like, in case you're like feeling where my energy's at, I'm like, someone's around, I have to like meditate. I guess there's this feeling of like, I need to like meditate properly, if that makes any sense to you at all. I'm sure it's not the first time you've heard that, but that's how I feel when people are around who I feel like
so
are
what
like,
does meditate properly mean to
I don't
you?
even know exactly. I guess it's this feeling of like there's an expert around and I need to like do that, you know?
So there's two things I'll say to that. One is, I remember going to a yoga retreat, and it's a Shivananda yoga retreat. So the first 30 minutes of every day is spent in meditation. And I remember one thing he said was, most of the time that we spend in meditation is trying to meditate. And then there's like a few minutes where you actually do like feel that bliss or that energy of just calm and mental nothing. And so that helped me because we're trying, right? And the trying is actually very helpful because that is what builds the practice. The second thing I was going to say is that I really do adhere to this belief that there's different types of meditation. Of course, there's different types of meditation, but I mean, masculine forms of meditation and feminine forms of meditation. That may not be politically correct for people who don't like the masculine, feminine, but I would say that masculine form of meditation is, you know, to sit like this, think of nothing, do nothing. I would say that's a masculine form of meditation. Feminine form of meditation is to dance, is vibrancy, I read this, or I listened to this talk called The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida.
Okay.
And he really distinguishes it well, and he's a man, and so he has a lot of experience, at least with the masculine. And he really explains it well, so I'll do the best that I can, but I really do, it does resonate with me the way that feminine forms of expression of meditation is to be alive, is to be moving, is to be expansive. Like a woman dancing, when I dance, I'm very meditative. There's no thoughts. So this breathing exercise helps just to activate your sixth chakra, and what you will feel out of it is a lightness in your head, almost like a faintedness in your head, and that's good because it's like your sixth chakra is being activated.
Okay.
So it's very simple. All you do is breathe in for 7 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, breathe out for 7 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, and I usually do that 7 times. So cycle of 7.
Okay.
So I'll count you in for the first one, and then I'll do it with you, and then just in your head count yourself, and I'm pretty sure we'll be like the same numbers together. Okay. So starting to breathe in. 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold your breath. 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 4, 5, 6. I'll try it again.
Okay.
So we're going to breathe in. 5, 6, 7. Hold your breath. 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 5, 6, 7. Hold your breath. 5, 6, 7. Breathe in again. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Hold your breath. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Hold your breath. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Hold your breath. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Hold your breath. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Hold your breath.
I feel like I'm like in like a daze right now. I'm like really just like feeling pretty chill, which is good. My hope is that for me, like part of doing like the entire like Sunday self-love series is also like this little bit of so I feel like part of doing this series is a big part of my journey to being able to love myself had to be really intentional. So half of this is challenging myself to be intentional in ways that I feel that when you get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, sometimes self-care and self-love gets cut first. I'm not sure why, but I know for myself personally, sometimes that's what happens.
It's actually such a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that self-care gets cut? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know why either, but I know that I've done it and I do it.
Self-love.
Yeah. I feel like we're made to feel guilty, as if like loving yourself is this vain task, you know, and that like you're not allowed or supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So doing this for me has meant challenging myself to do the things that I used to do in terms of my like beginnings of my journey of self-love, but challenging myself to continue to do them. And also I'm just hoping to like share with folks like different things to do. And I like the pieces you said around like meditation, because I think that a big part of the journey is like letting go of like guilt and shame of like not feeling like you don't know how or like you're not doing it right, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel that if the journey means like, I feel like there's a spectrum of things, right? Because it could mean like what you're saying, like it could just mean taking some time out on a Sunday to like dance for whatever period of time, you know? Yeah. That could be in a group of people, but that could just be like at home, like I'm gonna dance this Sunday, you know? Or feeling like maybe it is sitting and like breathing. Like, I don't know, it might look different for different people, but I like the piece around like knowing that it's okay to look different for different people. And it might mean that someone like they need to connect with someone like you, or like it just means different things, like I guess depending on where people are at in their life.
There's this elder who I really respect. His name's Mandaza, and in his traditions, his name means one in constant prayer. And so I really like that name because one in constant prayer makes me feel like just his way of being is a prayer. So when I remember when I learned his name, I thought about it, like, what would it be like for my life to be a constant prayer? Rather than being like, I'm going to meditate for 15 minutes this morning. And so I always am checking myself that I'm feeling good, and that is the prayer.
I like that. Okay. Well, on that note, thank you so much. Thank you for sitting with us. Thank you for sharing with us. And thank you. I feel like I just want to like say thanks for like making it possible in certain ways. But I think that it is something that I appreciate when folks like share their energy and like their, I don't know, like if abilities is the right word, but like sharing their energy and abilities with me. So I'm saying thanks for that.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. So folks who want to connect with you, can you tell them a little bit about like how they can connect with you?
Well, I have my website, which is thehealingboat.com, and I have my shamanic healing practice, and of course they can always get in touch with you, but through my website.
Okay, amazing. Yay. Thank you so much.
No problem.